Good day! We are the Group 4 from Grade 12 ABM 2A.
And we're here to present our research study entitled
The correlation between the students' learning capability and time of study.
I am Jazmin, Gayle Q, Servito.
Angelika Pirante,
Vivienne, Angelique, Robosa,
Rochmel Senin, Alaisa Mae Resuello,
Cyril Cajas,
Jasmin, Loreigene Ramos,
Kylla Q, Untalan.
And I am Andrie, Fronda.
For the research overview, we have the research problem and the scope and delimitation of the study. Research problem. Generally, this study aims to determine the correlation between students' learning capability and time of study. Specifically, it seeks to answer the following questions. First, what are the profiles of the students in terms of age and sex? Second, what is the student's learning capability? Third, what is the time allotted for study among the respondents? Fourth, is there a statistical or significant correlation between students' learning capability and time of study?
Scope and delimitation of the study. The study is focused on the correlation between students' learning capability and time of study. Data gathered in the research were obtained from Philma University of Pangasinan, Dagupan City. The study covered to find if the study time of 47 respondents from Grade 12 ABM 03A in Philma University of Pangasinan affects their learning capability. The sources utilized in this study were extracted from recent articles from online services, the internet, and public libraries. The study is focused on the students of the first semester of the academic year 2019-2020. The study is limited on the 47 respondents from Grade 12 ABM 03A in Philma University of Pangasinan because it is convenient for us to conduct a survey. Also, for the reason that respondents' classroom is nearby the researchers' classroom. The weaknesses of the study included the data collection process and equipment.
For the background of the study, we have the motivation in pursuing the study and significance of the study. Motivation in pursuing the study. Education is essential for a good quality life since it gives knowledge of the world, which develops the student's perspective in life. It is also a guide for career path and roles in the society. Also, it is one of the way we learn, but there are many factors that might affect our learning capability, and one of these might be our time of study. Study time refers to the specific time assigned by the student himself to study in order to acquire knowledge. Since education is important and it is one of the way we learn, our fellow students became our motivation in conducting the study. Because students nowadays have tons of schoolworks that sometimes their allotted time in studying is being lessened. We have decided to conduct a research about the correlation between the students' learning capability and time of study to know if the students' allotted time in studying has a relationship with or would affect their learning capability.
significance of the study. For the students, this study is designed to help students to improve their academic performances through increasing their study time to be able to enhance and focus in their learning capability for their future careers and lives.
For the teachers, it shall help them to have an idea of how to teach their students well, and for the teachers to create lesson plans that are adapted to the students' learning capabilities.
For the students' parents, it shall help the students' parents to enhance their children's time management skills and academic performance, which could help their future success.
For the school administrators, it shall help them to be aware of the students' capacity, particularly for their mental health. For the school admins, to make school policies that adhere to the welfare of the students' learning capabilities.
For schools and universities, it shall serve as a guide in helping the teachers, students, and government to come up with better educational strategies and teaching styles to help improve students' knowledge and skills.
For the community, it shall help the community to have a free seminar or program open for all students about time management and how to enhance learning capabilities.
For the researchers, the study is designed to help the researchers to know if the time of study affects learning capability, Also, to help the researchers to manage their time during the study.
For the future researchers, this study shall help researchers interested in the correlation between the students' learning capability and time, since it will be served as a future reference and related study.
Research procedure. In research procedure, we have research instrument, how data were gathered, and limitations and solutions. In research instrument, the main instrument in gathering the data was a survey questionnaire, where the questionnaire had 3 parts. The first part contained the profile of the respondents. The second part contained the indicator of how the respondents are learning. Lastly, the third part was a question on how many is the allotted time of the respondents in studying.
How data were gathered. Prior to the conduct of the study, the researchers developed the title with the help of the research advisor. For the researchers to collect important data needed for the completion of the study, the researchers used the survey questionnaire as the data gathering instrument. The survey questionnaire was formulated and letters addressed to the respondents and to the principal were made to ask permission for the floating of the survey questionnaires noted by the research advisor. Upon permission, the researchers floated the survey questionnaire and redeemed them at once for analysis and interpretation.
Limitations and solutions. The limitations that we have encountered were finding the local related literature and the local related studies for our study. We only have found a few local related literature and studies, so instead of completing the required number of local related literature and local related studies, we searched for more foreign related literature and foreign related studies because it was easier to find. Also, we struggled in gathering data during our survey because our target respondents are also doing their survey at the same time. So in order to resolve it, we look for another sample of respondents in the same strand and proceed to the survey.
Societal importance. How will your study contribute to the society and to the body of knowledge? Learning is essential to our existence. Just like food nourishes our bodies, information and learning nourishes our minds. Learning is our self-motivated persistence in acquiring knowledge and competencies in order to expand our skill set and develop future potentials. It forms part of our personal and professional development in an effort to avoid stagnation and reach our full potential. Through this research, people will know the correlation between the students' learning capability and time of study, especially for the students. Moreover, from our research study, people or students would be aware if their allotted time in studying has a relationship with or would affect their learning capability, and they would have a chance or opportunity to make a necessary adjustment with their time management in studying, since life is about learning. What is your motivation for conducting this study? Our fellow students became our motivation in conducting this study because students nowadays have tons of schoolworks that sometimes their allotted time in studying is being lessened. We have decided to conduct our research about the students' learning capability and time of study to know if the students' allotted time in studying has a relationship with or would affect their learning capability, and they would have a chance or opportunity to make necessary adjustment with their time management in studying.
What is the scope of the study? The study focused on the correlation between the students' learning capability and time of study. Data gathered in the research were obtained from Pinma University of Pangasinan. The study covered to find if the study time of 47 respondents from grade 12 ABM 03A students in Pinma University of Pangasinan affects their learning capability. The study focused on the students of the first semester in academic year 2019-2020.
What limitations did you encounter? The limitations that we have encountered were finding the local related literatures and studies. We only have found few local related literatures and studies, so instead of completing the required number of local related literatures and studies, we searched for more foreign related literatures and studies because it was easier to find. Also, we struggled in gathering data during our survey because our target respondents were also conducting their survey at the same time.
Why are your research questions interesting or important? The research questions in our study are important in order to make solutions or answers in our problem. Moreover, research questions provide results in our study that would be a significant help to support our formulated hypothesis. Without research questions, you cannot have answers to make results, and you cannot resolve the problem of your research study.
Cite the two most important sources for your work. How did they help you to accomplish your study? The two most important sources for our work were the internet and our respondents. Internet helped us gathering information about our related literature and our related studies of our dependent and independent variables for our chapter 2. While the respondents, they were the ones who answered our survey questionnaires, and they enabled us to make a result on our study and to support our formulated hypothesis.
What is your research methodology? Why choose this method? Our study relies on a descriptive correlational research design. It is a study in which the researcher is primarily interested in describing the relationship among the variables. The descriptive correlational method was used in order to explain the relationship between the time of study and the student's learning capabilities.
Who are your respondents? How many are they? And what was the sampling method used? The respondents in our research study were the grade 12 ABM03A, and there were 47 of them. The sampling method used was simple random sampling to avoid biased results from the survey.
The measurement instrument of our study in gathering the data was a survey questionnaire, where the questionnaire had 3 parts. The first part contained the profile of the respondents. The second part contained the question that are indicator on how the respondents are learning. Lastly, the third part was a question on how many is the allotted time of the respondents in studying.
What are your findings? On the profile of the respondents, from the 47 respondents, 38 of them were under 17 to 19 years old, while 9 of them were under 14 to 16 years old. And from the 47 respondents, 38 of them were female and 9 of them were male. On the students' learning capability, the computed average weighted mean for the students' learning capability of the respondents is 3.72, which had transmuted description of high. On the time of study of the respondents, from the 47 respondents, 29 of them had a study time of 1 to 3 hours. 11 of them have the study time of 3 to 5 hours. 5 of them have the study time of 5 to 7 hours, and 2 of them had the study time of 7 to 10 hours. On the correlation between the time of study and students' learning capability, the computed value correlation coefficient was R is equals to 0.1, which means there was a correlation between students' learning capability and time of study. Therefore, the null hypothesis was rejected. What's original about your work? The original about our work was the findings of our study. Although we had some related studies on our research, we had different numbers of respondents, and we had different places where we conducted our study, and it made our study original. Also, it was original because there were no fabrications made.
What are the strongest and weakest parts of our study? The strongest part of our study was the conclusion, because it was explained there the correlation between the student's learning capability and time of study. Also, for the reason that it was based from our findings that were valid. While the weakest part of our study was the chapter 2, because there were only few sources about the related literature and related studies about our research.
Based on your findings, what are your recommendations? First, parents should monitor the academic work of their children for them to have higher learning capability. Also, parents should teach their children at an early age to manage their time efficiently, especially in studying. Second, students should manage or allot their time to other activities aside from studying or learning, such as joining different clubs inside the campus, extracurricular activities, or physical activities. Third, schools should have implement a policy wherein each student should have spent at least an hour in a library for them to have more knowledge. They can also make a policy that in every classroom, each student should have his or her partner when studying so that they can collaborate or share knowledge with each other. For the future researchers, conduct the same study but make an improvement. Also, do your background research first before conducting your study, because the more you know about your topic or subject, it would be easier for you to conduct your own research.
What is the importance of your study? Through this research, people will know the correlation between the student's learning capability and time of study, especially for the students. Moreover, from our research study, people or students would know if their allotted time on studying has a relationship or affect their learning capability. By that, they would have a chance or opportunity to make necessary adjustments with their time management on studying.
What would you change if you were to conduct the study again? If I were to conduct the study again, I would change the number of our respondents because we only had 47 respondents. In the research study, the more respondents, the more credible and accurate the results are.
What advice would you give to yourself if you could go back to the start of your research? The advice that I want to give to myself is to be careful in making your research question and survey questionnaires because it is where the results of the study relies on. Another one is you must be prepared enough in gathering your credible resources for the related literature and studies. And don't forget to save the links of your sources from the internet because you will need it in the bibliography. Lastly, before you conduct a research study, you must have a broad knowledge on your topic in order for your research study to flow smoothly.